Good day, everyone. Moving or migrating to a new country is really stressful. Just thinking of the things you need to pack can be very challenging. A lot of questions comes into your mind. Should I bring this particular item? Or can I bring this through the airport? Should I buy the stuff now or buy it when I arrive in the US? There's too much unknown and too much uncertainty. So today, I'm gonna give you some insights and tips on how to pack your luggages when it comes to moving or migrating to a new country, especially if you're going to the United States, including important information based on the Transport Security Administration or TSA. So stay tuned and watch till the end. I'm Nurse Juan de la Cruz, your OFW nurse. The first thing you need to know is there are some limitations when it comes to bringing stuff from one country to the United States. The first limit has something to do with the baggages or luggages. By right, you're only allowed to bring 3 baggages. 1 carry-on baggages and 2 check-in baggages or luggages. Usually, max per bag is 50 pounds or 22.7 kilograms per check-in baggage. For the carry-on baggages, it's usually 15 pounds or 7 kilograms maximum only. And they have a specific dimensions which you have to comply as well, just to be on the safer side. FYI, different airlines do have different specific rules when it comes to the weight limits per each of the bag, but most of them are quite similar. So better check on the limitations or the specific rules for these particular things, as this is really important and to avoid future problems. Then the second limitation is imposed by the TSA or Transport Security Administration, which is the basics ones like no flammable, no ammunitions, no liquids more than 100 ml or 3 ounces, and the 311 rule, and a lot more things. I will explain more in details throughout the video. The best way for me to share my experience and knowledge is by showing you how we pack our luggages or bags going to the United States, and we will do it bag per bag. And by the way, aside from those 2 check-in baggages and 1 carry-on baggage, you are allowed 1 additional extra bag. It is called the personal bag item, or it is called the personal bag. It can either be a laptop bag, a purse, or a small bag, which can be stored under your seat. So make the most of it as well. So let's start with the personal bag. For me, I chose my personal bag to be a laptop backpack because I do have a laptop and I do have a lot of gadgets with me. Then inside my laptop bag, I have an even smaller bag. We'll call that the Fanny Pack. I use my Fanny Pack throughout my international travels and never was I ever scolded or gotten attention of the TSA about it. So when we went to the US, I did the same thing. So from the Philippines to Japan to the US, they never mentioned about it. So they allowed in a way for me to use or to have a small Fanny Pack. But just in case they will say something about it, I made sure that I have enough space on my personal bag or on my carry-on baggages, just to be on the safer side. By the way, this is my Fanny Pack. This is what I brought going here to the US. And I made sure there's like really close to me, so it looks like smaller, or just put it like halfway this way, so it won't be that too eye-catching. So the things inside my Fanny Pack are usually the important things that I need, that can be easily pulled out. And also the things that I'll be using throughout the flight. And some of the things inside here are the things that really needs to be secured, like my passport, my wallet, my cell phone, my charger cords, my power bank. But honestly, power bank, you really don't need it on the flight because most of the seats on the airplane do have a socket for the cords for your cell phones. So you just need the cords for those things. And then of course, I brought my earphones or my headset to keep me entertained. But for me, when we ride the Japan Airlines, they actually gave us a specific or our own personal headset, which is really nice. And honestly, until now, it's still with me. I've been using it for more than 1 year now, and it's quite okay. But honestly, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to get it. But I've seen a lot of the other passengers brought it with them, together with their blankets. And the flight attendants didn't say anything. So I did the same thing. Guilty. Then the next item is, of course, your camera. You need that for documentation purposes. The next is a shawl or a scarf or a big handkerchief. It is to cover your face. Because during the flight, you are really bound to have your sleep. And if you're like me who sleeps deeply, and sometimes when I sleep deeply, I have my mouth open. And in some positions, I do drool. So it's best to have something to cover me, to avoid embarrassing moments to other people who are passing through, especially if you're seated at the aisle corner. So make sure to get something thin so it will be hard to breathe for you, or you won't be suffocating in it. But now most of them, they will require wearing a mask. So I guess that will do the same thing or same effect. So either way, it's up to you. The next is the eye mask. My travel time from Japan to the US was actually 16 hours. So you really have to get a good night's sleep, especially if you're not sure what will happen to you when you arrive here in the US. So for me, I need to have my mask. I always sleep with my mask on to have a better quality of sleep. The next is a plastic bottle of water. Yes, I'm able to bring the plastic bottle of water, but whenever I go through in the check-in or check-in areas, I do drink them first, finish them, and just store the empty plastic container. Then whenever I go through it, I just refill it somewhere. Most of them do have fountains there. Then if I'm a smoker, I would also put my cigar or my cigarettes in here. But e-cigarettes or the electronic cigarettes are not allowed in the airplanes. Then, of course, when you have a regular kind of cigarettes, you need a lighter as well. You have to buy those Zippo lighters or those battery-operated lighters, which does not contain any fuel in it. Because anything that has fuel in it, it's not allowed in the airport, especially if you're putting it inside your carry-on baggages. But take note, some security or not well-informed security officers might still confiscate your lighters. So just be prepared to let it go if ever that moment happens or that event takes place. Then moving on to the next bag is my personal bag or my laptop bag. It comprises mostly either gadgets or electronics, like for my laptop and its chargers, my other cell phones, electric shaver, my wife's epilator, my entire GoPro set, my memory bank, memory files. By the way, I had to erase everything that could be possibly labeled as copyright, as US is really strict when it comes to copyright issues. I'm not sure what will really happen to you, but I'm sure it has something to do with the fines and possible confiscation. This was also discussed to me in PDOS or during the CFO certification. For me, I had to browse 3 of my memory banks, going one file at a time. Because I was scared and in my mind, I was being paranoid. I was thinking whenever we depart a plane or go through the immigration, the laptop and files or the memory banks will be scrutinized from one passenger to the other. That's how I imagine it. And of course, it didn't happen. So what they do is just a random check. But like I said, you don't want to be the lucky one. But if you want to, you can gamble on it. But if you do, that's on you. So anything that has battery on it, I place inside my personal bag or laptop bag as well. Also, I had a toothpaste and a toothbrush. And I made sure the toothpaste is less than 100 ml. And I placed those inside a Ziploc bag, together with the small bar soap. Because only Bello touches my skin. Then I made sure, just in case, there's enough space for my Fanny Pack inside my laptop bag, just to be on the safer side. Then for my wife, she didn't have a Fanny Pack or a laptop bag. She chose her Sling Bag, which has some of the things that are found in my Fanny Pack, plus additional girly stuff. She had few of her basic makeups, like lipstick or powdered lipstick, a powder, a blush on, because from time to time, you do need to retouch yourself. You will reach places that are selfie-worthy or photo-worthy. So it's best to have them on easy access. Also, my wife brought in a hand sanitizer, which is less than 100 ml on a clear bottle, which is placed inside a Ziploc bag. And just in case of emergency or red alert, she brought in some tampons and some pads. Then moving to the next item is my carry-on luggage. For me, I prefer to have this with the roller ones because on my personal bag, I already have my laptop bag, which is a strap-on. So I don't want to have an additional something to carry and put a strain on my back. So for me, I prefer traveling this way. And most of the time, whenever I'm tired, I just put it on top here. Let's put it on top here. And you have to buy these things. This can just like anchor it together yourself. And we'll keep the bag inside here. So it's really convenient. I don't know what it is called, but I bought it in Daiso or those Japan stores. In Singapore, it's called Daiso, and in the Philippines, we see those things in the 88 store. Take note that some airlines will impose size restrictions. I think you've seen in some airports wherein they have those weighing scale that has a bar on it. The purpose for that is for those carry-on luggages, wherein the bag should fit inside those metal frames. So whenever they fit, means that you pass the dimensions that they're asking you to comply with. Weight-wise, it's supposed to be like 7 kilograms. But honestly, throughout my travels abroad, I was never scrutinized when it comes to this weight. The only place where I was scrutinized was in Palawan, wherein I had to pay 2,000 pesos. Yes, I'm still bitter. But like I said, it is not consistent for every airports or every airlines. So to be sure, just comply with the 7 kilograms for now, or whatever your airline states. By the way, if ever you want to travel to Palawan, try to get the Pet Travel Agency. They're really great. I really recommend. It's worth it. So inside my carry-on baggages are, of course, the most important thing for your travel to the United States. It is the US visa packet. And also I brought in other documents that I thought might be important or I might need whenever I go through the US. So I placed in another file of folders for my documents. But honestly, I never got to use them. Visa packet was enough. It's the only thing that the immigration officer asked from me. So you can, or you may also not put it inside your carry-on baggages. You can put it inside your check-in baggage for the other documents. But make sure the visa packet is with you. And also I had some few clothes inside my carry-on baggages. Just in case I do have to happen to need to change or for any emergency reasons, I need to change my set of clothes. General rule for the carry-on baggages or the personal items is to comply with the 311 rule. Meaning any liquids should be less than 3 ounces or 100 ml. Then put it in 1/4 size Ziploc bag or resealable bag and put it in a transparent kind of plastics or anything that's transparent. So those are the things inside my personal luggages and personal bag. So let's move to the most important part of this video, which is what are the things you need to pack inside your 2 big luggages. But before we go through those things, the first thing you have to do is buy a specific luggage that has a TSA lock on it or a Transport Security Administration lock. When the TSA officers deem that they have to open your bag for any particular reasons, they will use a master key for the TSA lock. But if you use a regular padlock on those locks, the TSA officer might destroy your padlock and they don't have to inform you in advance to do it because they have the right to open it up for security reasons. With the risk of having your luggage damaged, or worse, having your luggage exposed throughout the journey from one country to the other. This happened to me during one of my travels abroad. So for me, it was a lesson learned. So the next time I bought a luggages, I made sure they had a TSA lock on it. Then whenever you're buying your luggage, make sure the tires or the luggage itself is really sturdy because you don't want to end up losing the tires and end up dragging those heavy luggages for the entire trip. It is really inconvenient as your baggage is extra heavy. This happened to me during my flight via Cebu Pacific from my city to Manila, then going to the US. So in Manila, when the bag was dropped off, I noticed they were putting the bags very rough. On the carousel, I saw a piece of tire or a luggage tire running throughout the carousel and I was laughing about it. Little did I know that it was my tire. It was my luggage, even though the luggage that I bought was an expensive one and it has been with me for 1 year throughout my travels. So I really believe it was a mishandling that caused the breaking of the tire. So it was a big hassle for me. So Cebu Pacific still owes me for that. And they don't reply to my typical emails then. Good thing I had few more days in Manila before I was bound to the United States. So I had it fixed properly. So moving on. The general rule for packing up your 2 main baggages is to fill it as much as possible, but comply with the weight limit. Also, no contrabands or no prohibited items as stated by the TSA. Clothes and accessories should be the main dominant things that fills up your luggages. Put in your favorite clothes for different occasions, for different events, for the summer clothes, the winter clothes, the clothes that you use for bedtime. You can put all those things in your luggage, but you can't bring a lot of them because of obvious reasons for the weight limit. So this is one of the hardest things in packing up because you have to let go some of the clothes that has sentimental values for you. But most of them I had to let go. Especially those clothes that I rarely use, especially because of certain size issues. Bring whatever you think you will need whenever you arrive in the United States. Bring clothes that are branded and authentic. Make sure it is authentic, please. Because it is also a form of copyright. If you bring things that are fake, or especially those you bought in Divisoria or in Quiapo, or any of those markets that are selling non-authentic things. And Class A still not considered authentic. So please, let it go. So if you're headed to the US that has a winter climate in it, it is best to bring some of your winter clothes. So bring in some thick jackets, thick long pants, thick socks, bring in some beanies or bonnet, that's what they call it here. Bring a pair of thick gloves because when the weather is really cold, it can make your chest feel really tight and it makes your fingertips burn. It's like you're having frostbite in it, and it hurts really. So gloves can really be useful. So just bring a pair of them. Also, bring in some moisturizers because during the winter season, your skin gets to be really dry to the point that it can really make you feel itchy. So having a moisturizer with you really helps, especially on your back area as well as on your thigh. That's for me. So I think it depends from person to person. So just an FYI if this happens for you. So for the jackets, for me, you don't really have to buy those expensive, really thick jackets. What we normally do here is wear multiple layers. Like for me, I can wear a t-shirt, then I wear a long sleeve shirt, then I wear a jacket, then I wear another hoodie. So just to make me feel comfortably warm inside. So most of the time, that's enough for me. You can buy those thick jackets if you want to, but if you don't have the budget for it, it's okay. You can just buy it when you arrive here. Because most of the time, you will be either inside or four wall. The only time it gets really cold or it really hurts to be feeling the cold is whenever you need to do something outside, like going to the car or going from the car to the house. But anything inside the four walls, most of the time you feel comfortably warm. And FYI, the cars here do have heater systems. So it's quite comfortable inside the car. So you don't really have to bulk up using those thick jackets in the car itself. You can buy a lot of winter clothes when you arrive here in the United States. There are a lot of places where to buy these things. And some of them, if you arrive during the summertime or right after winter time, winter clothes can be really cheap. Like really cheap as compared back in the Philippines. And if you're like us, you're not really choosy when it comes to buying kind of jackets. You can buy a lot of second-hand clothes, or those are found in the thrift shops or in Goodwill. Goodwill sells a lot of clothes that are being donated to them as a form of charity. And they sell all those donations to the public in a very low price. You can get a jacket for as low as like $2 or $3 a piece. So that's really nice and convenient. Especially if you just need some few jackets for you just to run some few errands like walk the dog or just get some stuff outside. So don't really have to get those fancy jackets. I will make a video soon with regards to the stores you need to know when you arrive here in the United States or where to buy stuff when you're here in the United States. So make sure to click the subscribe button and notification bell. Then for summer clothes, summer is really typical weather back in the Philippines, typical tropical weather for us, minus the humidity, so minus the sweats. But it depends from state to state. So I think whatever clothes you have back in the Philippines or back in Singapore or in India, it will suffice for the summertime here in the US. For the clothes, it's best to buy those vacuum bags. You can put them inside and like squeeze them in. Just borrow a vacuum cleaner from your neighbor or someone else for like a few hours just for you to pack those things properly. They can really save a lot of space. Especially if you're going to the winter time and you think you want to bring a lot of jackets with you, they consume a lot of space. So having those vacuum bags can really create some more space for you. Then for the shoes, I brought in 3 pairs of shoes. My running shoes, my basketball shoes, and my everyday walking shoes. Honestly, there's no particular rules when it comes to what kind of shoes you have to wear whenever you work as a nurse here in the US. They're not really particular about it, unlike back in the Philippines or in Singapore, wherein it is a really eyesore for them. Here, as long as you're comfortable, as long as it is stable and won't cause you any accidents, you're good. But I think it depends from one hospital to the other. But most of the time, they don't really care. Shoes here are quite cheap, especially those that are found in department stores like Walmart. But if you want those branded shoes, it depends on the location or the state where you live in. Like for me, in my city, there are few shoe stores, but the options for the kind of shoes that they offer is not really that wide. But 1 or 2 hours from here, I can go to an outlet store which has like the Nike, the Adidas, Skechers, and all those other brands. So you can find more options there. Price-wise, they're also good. They get even better whenever you have like discounts like during holidays. Like for the Black Friday sale, they can really be cheap. And also for those clearance sales. So you just have to know when to buy some stuff when you arrive here in the US. If you're just looking for like a regular shoes for the meantime, you can get the shoes in Walmart for as low as $9 for regular price. Then during discounts, you can get as low as $2 or $3 per shoes. $3, really. Some days they can even go as low as $1. So discount here is really nice. By the way, Walmart is the most well-known department store here in the US. And some of them do have a connected grocery store, all in a one single floor. They can be found in every state in the US and sometimes in every few cities. Like 30 minutes to 1 hour away, there's a Walmart in it. Other places do have other department stores like Target, like Kroger's. Walmart is equivalent to the SM department store in the Philippines. The next is scrub suits. Like I said in my previous video, it's best to have your scrub suits made in your country or before coming to the United States, as it is definitely cheaper and you can have it customized. You can buy it here, but it's quite pricey. Then the next is the medication. So let's read through some important points from the TSA website. Can I travel with my medication? Yes, with some qualifiers. Few tips. It is not necessary for you to present any medication to or notify an officer about any medication you are traveling with, unless it is in a liquid form. Then the medication in liquid form is only allowed in carry-on baggages in excess of 3.4 ounces in reasonable quantities for the flight. It is not necessary to place medically required liquids in a Ziploc bag. However, you must tell the officer that you have medically necessary liquids at the start of the screening checkpoint process. But these liquids are subject to be opened if the officer wants to. Then take note, you can bring your medication in pill or solid form in unlimited amounts as long as it is screened. You can travel with your medication in both carry-on and in your check-in baggages. It is highly recommended that you place some of your items on your carry-on in the event that you need immediate access to these medications, especially those anti-allergy medications or anti-dizziness or anti-nausea. So it's best to keep few of them inside your carry-on packages. And TSA does not require passengers to have medications in prescription bottles, but states have individual laws regarding the labeling of medications, which passengers need to comply. When you arrive here in the US, you don't have any insurance yet. Usually it will be around 2 months when you arrive here, because 30 days for you to get your work or everything settled first, then insurance will only kick in 30 days after the start of your work. Again, 30 days after the start of your work. That's how it was for me and how for my other colleagues. So anything that happens to you within those 30 days or within those 60 days without any work or without insurance will really be challenging, because healthcare here in the US is really expensive, especially if you don't have an insurance with you. This is a lab test for my wife. You can see the price, right? It really hurts. So bring some common over-the-counter medications with you that you think you will need throughout the season, like Biogesic, BioFlu, Tuzeran, Robitussin, few anti-allergy medications or antihistamine medications with you, like cetirizine, Benadryl. Also bring some pain relievers like Advil or mefenamic acid or any pain reliever that doesn't contain any narcotics in it. You need to bring some nausea and vomiting medications, just in case you get sick or you're prone to getting sick on land travels or long drives, especially if you're going to the city which is located far away from the airport. So you really have to have it with you. Because like for me, from the airport where we landed, it took us about 2 hours and 30 minutes for the travel time via car. And here in the US, it can be as far as 4 to 6 hours away from the airports. So FYI. For the prescription medications, my wife had some medications that are not over the counter. The doctor is the one who recommended for us to have a certificate for those medications that she gave us. The prescriptions or the RX that she has given us, the pharmacists here in the US do not entertain or do not honor those things. So make sure if you need a lot of prescription meds, bring it with you if possible. I think good 3 months will be enough. So once we ran out of her usual medications, we had to go and see a doctor here in the United States. And he'll be the one to give you the receipts for it. Then even if you already have an insurance, there's still some money that you have to cash out. Unlike back in the Philippines or in Singapore, wherein most of our healthcare are free. Here, healthcare, you have to pay for it, and there's like a specific kind of healthcare that you need to get in order for you to get a better quality. So a better quality of healthcare means more money you have to pay every month. I will explain further on my next video, so as it is complicated and very much annoying in a sense. So make sure to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Then some of the common medications or over-the-counter medications that you will be bringing here sometimes can be found here in their common pharmacies like Walgreens, the CVS, and some of the big department stores like the Walmart. They do have their own pharmacy, or they do have a section of over-the-counter medications which you don't have to go through the pharmacy. Just have to pick them up. Most of the medications, as compared to the prices back in the Philippines, are really expensive. The next is about hair and shampoo. There are a lot of different options of when it comes to shampoos and conditioners here. But unfortunately, they don't have the usual brands that we have in the Philippines or the local brands like Pantene, like Cream Silk. They don't have those things here in the Walmart. You might find them in Asian stores or Filipino stores, but they are quite expensive, really. So if you're the kind of person that's really keen when it comes to hair, so maybe you can bring more bottles for it, unless you want to try to experiment some of the brands here. Then if it doesn't work, you can always go to an Asian store or a Filipino store to buy those things. The next is those facial soaps. There's also a lot of options for facial soaps here, but mostly those are international brands that are quite known for the Caucasian people. But those soaps that are whitening soaps or those contain papaya extracts or kojic, they don't have it in Walmart. You can buy those things in other Asian stores or have them delivered to you via the Amazon app, but the price is really expensive. Like for my colleague, she says the kojic that she buys, one bar soap is around 25 pesos back in the Philippines. But here, it will cost you around $6 to $8 per bar soap. That's how expensive it is. If you think you need those bar soaps, you can bring more of them. Sacrifice some of your clothes. You can buy a lot of those things here if you're not choosing up. So for the bar soaps, for the body bar soaps, you don't actually have to bring them here. We have your like Safeguard, we have like Olays, so you don't have to pack them. Prices, they're quite similar, so you don't really need to bring them. Then for the girls with the aftercare wash, like the Eskinol, like the toners, they have a lot of versions here, but for those Filipino or local brands, they don't have it. The next would be some beauty products, like for my wife, for the pedicure set or the cuticle remover. If they contain the alcohol content, I don't think you can bring them inside your bag because they will be considered as flammable. The nail polish, you can bring few of them. Having nails done here or haircut done here, especially for the girls, are really expensive. Best if you can do it by yourself, like DIY. So try to find the best color for you or bring the most used kind of nail polish for you. That's for my wife. I don't have colorings. And moving on to the makeup. If you're using the local brands like Ever Bilena, the Vice Ganda's product, and other local brands, they don't have it here. Even those Korean products, they don't really have it here. Maybe they do have, but on certain locations. Other makeups here, like the US brands, they are really quite cheaper as compared back in the Philippines, as per my wife and my colleagues, especially if they go on sale. The next is perfume. You do have a lot of options per perfume here, especially those branded ones, if you want to. And some of them can be on sale, especially if you buy those products that are displayed on the Ross. They sell a lot of branded products, very low prices. But if you're like me, I'm kind of used to using my own set of perfume, which is only like a cheaper one, aficionado. So I bought like 3 or 4 sets of perfume for me and another set for my wife before coming here in the US. The next, let's move to the miscellaneous stuff. For the Philippines, this is the most common question. Should you bring a tabo or not? There is no tabo in Walmart. So if you like to bring one, you can bring them. They're quite easy to store because there's like an empty hollow space. You can fill those things in it and just squeeze it in whichever part of your luggage. But you don't really have to, because when you arrive here, you can just improvise. You can either just use a small bucket of it and it will work the same thing really. The next is electrical plugs. If you're coming from different country like in Singapore, or if you're coming from Saudi Arabia, they do have a different outlet. In the Philippines and the US, they're quite similar wherein they only have like 2 sockets. So before coming to the US, make sure to buy an adapter that fits the US standard port. The next is the electrical stuff, like the hair iron, the hair curlers, the blowers, the shavers. Honestly, you don't really have to bring those things because you can always buy them here. If you don't find any stores or anything in the Walmart that you like, you can always order it online on Amazon. And either Amazon or in Walmart, whenever you buy those stuff, you can just do like a trial and error first. You have 30 days or 30 to 60 days before returning those items. If you didn't want that product, you can return it without any problems. Did it a lot of times here because some of the things we bought, I'm not satisfied, so I just returned it. Like for the vacuum cleaners, like for the washing machine, I didn't like it, so we just returned it. The next is the food. I suggest bringing some few canned goods with you, especially like corned beef. They don't have corned beef here. If they do, it's quite different and more expensive. You can bring some sardines, bring a few if you want to, and other canned goods that are quite known in the Philippines. Our canned goods in the Philippines are really, really tasty as compared to the canned goods here in the US, honestly. Then, if you want, you can bring some noodles like pancit canton or some migoren with you. In the local stores here in Walmart, they don't have those things here. They do have like a similar to Maggi or the Lucky Me soups. They do have a similar products here, but not like the pancit canton. Food products we'll be bringing here is mainly for emergency whenever you arrive here, or for the long run whenever you want or you're craving for these things. So because I'm sure if you stay here for long, you will really miss some of the typical canned goods that we have. Even sardinas or sardines, you will definitely miss it. But of course, you can bring a lot of them. So just limit with products you can bring with you on the luggages. Then to further maximize in bringing stuff from Philippines or from other countries to the US, I suggest wearing some of them with you. Like for the bulky jackets, use them, even though it's not really that cold. You can just bring them and just tie them around you or tie it on your luggages whenever you're moving, just to lessen the amount and space inside your big luggages. The neck pillow, you don't really have to pack them inside the luggages. You can wear them. Then for my wife, she actually brought in her stuffed toy to use as a pillow and also another set of a small pillow, which she uses to put behind her back or behind her bottom, just to make it feel more comfortable for her. That's how normally we travel. So if you guys need anything, other things that you think you'll need whenever you arrive here, you can always buy things in Amazon through the application. And they will deliver it in your doorstep. They are really convenient and they are legit. They're not like in the Philippines whenever you buy something and there's always a fear that like if you bought a cell phone, when you open the box of the cell phone, you might find a bar soap in it. It never happened for me here in the US. So everything is legit here, and if ever there's a problem, you can always contact the customer service. Then money, guys, of course, you have to bring them. As per the PIDOS or the orientation we had before going to the US, you can bring cash money less than $10,000 per person. Because anything more than $10,000, you have to declare it using the BSP Foreign Accuracy Declaration form. And also bring a debit or a credit card with you for the rest of your funds when you go here in the US. There is a charge whenever you use some of your banks here in the US. So make sure to find a bank that charges less. So choose wisely. So if you need more information for the rules and regulations, please visit the TSA website. I will post the link down below. So in order to prepare you more, I'll be showing you some of the common stores we have here in the United States and show you some things that you can buy there and you can't buy there. So please click the subscribe button. So please comment down below for the things you want to know or you have questions about things that you need to pack going to the United States. Or if you want to ask for specific items or the things that you want to pack and you're not sure if they have it here, please comment down below and I might try to find it for you. Hope you learned something from this video. I tried to make it as short as possible, but there's so much things I need to tell you. Anyway, I'm Nurse Juan de la Cruz, your OFW nurse. Thank you for watching and God bless. See you soon.